Yeah.
The next question is this. In the sutta, the seclusion the Buddha talks about, is it physical seclusion or seclusion from the hindrances?
Oh, lovely question. In the Nalanda Sutta, which we didn't cover today, which is what we see Venerable Sariputta approaching Lord Buddha, and in his appreciation and respect for Lord Buddha, he says, Bhante, there's never been a Buddha like you in the past, in the present, or in the future. So he goes into these accolades. And Lord Buddha, being Lord Buddha, scrutinizing even his next in command. Basically, Venerable Sariputta was second in wisdom, only to the Buddha. He turns to Sariputta and says, Sariputta, it's interesting. Have you by any chance met the other Buddhas of the past? How about the ones in the future? How do you know if their attainments were as good or better or not as mine? So it's a wonderful challenge. And Venerable Sariputta says, Bhante, that is true. I don't have the ability, I don't have the Dibba Chakra, the divine eye, to go back in time or in the future. I don't have that. He says, that is true, Bhante. But, he says, I can tell you from my experience of this teaching that I get from the Noble One, Lord Buddha himself, that he narrows it down, he delineates it beautifully. He says, my conclusion is that the Buddhas of the 3 times, past, present, and future, must follow this schema, this structure. The first is to overcome the 5 hindrances. Second, they must be anchored on the 4 satipatthanas, the Chatu Satipatthana, 4 foundations of mindfulness. That means observing the body, observing feelings, observing the heart or the mind states, and observing phenomena and relationships of phenomena, hindrances being one of them. And then that's the first. Second, and the second was the Chatuma Satipatthana, the mindfulness. And then the third one is they must cultivate and develop the Satta Bojjhangas, the 7 factors of awakening. That must be there, he says. So that is how I would approach answering that question. And it is double-pronged, just like the question. It is not either or, it is both. Physical seclusion is a must. But even more important is, it is there for training. The physical seclusion is just there for training. Just like you sat today. You're secluding yourself physically, even though you're amidst others. But this is training. Your life cannot possibly be just a matter of sitting and sitting and sitting and sitting. That's unhealthy. You need to go back to life. You need to go and engage. But this is your training, just like the seclusion, the physical seclusion that was referred to here. Because ultimately it is the seclusion from all that noise I was mentioning earlier. Not to be shaking, not to be reactionary. So long as you're lost, not secluded from all that's going on, you will be sucked in, whether you like it or not. Your attention will definitely be, sooner or later, ayoniso manasikara, if you have not secluded yourself for a certain time during the day. That's why I'm not a believer in spending hours and hours and hours in a day sitting. One teacher I used to associate with used to say, no, you have to increase more time, more sitting. Well, I used to sit 6 hours. I think once I sat 8 hours, but that was nothing more. Well, now the doctors have said, if you sit over 45 minutes, your blood clots, I have blood clots now, your blood clots are going to get worse and you're going to die. Plus, I cannot sit as beautifully and as long as a rock, a boulder, a mountain. Last week I was at the Blue Mountains. There were many, many beautiful boulders. They have been sitting there for ages. No wisdom will come out of that, sitting. So by sitting itself, no miracles are going to happen. No wisdom is going to come about. But this is not to undermine or say sitting is bad. No. Sitting is important, but in the right dosage. Majority of it, your practice has to be dynamic. And when you have time to sit, please. I encourage students, sometimes they're in the kitchen, they're washing the dishes, or they're changing a tire or something, or gardening, suddenly, or working in the office, suddenly they just go, there's a strong equanimity. And they come, Bhante, should I, please, if you have the time, take the day off, or go sit for 5-10 minutes, leave the garden, go, actually sit under the tree, in the garden, somewhere. Absorb in that beautiful, that's a gift, that quietude. So that will become a beautiful marriage of both the physical seclusion and the seclusion from the hindrances. Because your practice has gone so deep, because the hindrances will not remain hindrances. They are your best teachers in that sense. Because you have learned how to, nicely work with them, dance with them in your mind, so that you can use the energy. Just like if a rocket is going to be shot out to another planet, to save fuel, what they would use is basically they would go rotating around the moon, our satellite. So after 1 or 2 turns, guess what? You've developed a momentum, centripetal force. So now, once you direct the nose of the vehicle towards a planet or a star, you use the energy of the hindrance, in this case the moon, to go zapping through the sky without extra fuel needed. The hindrances do that. So, but you need both. Does that answer the question?